House Joint Resolution 1009 by Representatives Michaelson Jenet and Williams, also Senators Holbert and Zenzinger, concerning commemorating the 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Whereas, on December 7, 1941, a date which shall live in infamy, Japanese forces launched a surprise attack against the United States naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. 2,403 Americans were killed and 1,178 were wounded. And whereas this act of aggression ended the United States policy of non-interventionism and propelled the United States into direct military action in World War II, during which millions of brave men and women from the United States Armed Forces and other allied powers defeated the Axis powers across the globe. And whereas the attack on Pearl Harbor became key to the United States war, and whereas following the attack on Pearl Harbor, Colorado became key to the United States war effort with vital training facilities at Camp Hale near Leadville and Camp Carson near Colorado Springs. Whereas numerous survivors of the attack on Pearl Harbor have made Colorado their home, though the passage of time is taking these last Pearl Harbor survivors from us. Whereas December 7th of 2016 marked the 75th anniversary of the Japanese attack on the United States Naval Base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 71st General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that we, the members of the 71st General Assembly, extend our heartfelt gratitude for the service and sacrifice of all those who experienced the attack on Pearl Harbor, remain dedicated to preserving the memory of this event, and encourage all of Colorado's citizens to do the same, and honor and remember the 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor.
We will proceed with the consideration of HJR 1009. Representatives Michaelson Jenet and Representative Williams. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1009.
The motion is for the adoption of HJR 1009. If there is no objection, we will take a voice vote. Seeing none, all of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All of those opposed signify by saying no. HJR 1009 is adopted. Representative Michaelson Jenet.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the current roll call of the House be added as co-sponsors.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call of the House will be added as co-sponsors to HJR 1009. We will now proceed. Representative Michaelson Jenet.
Good morning. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for the passage of House Bill 1009, and I'd like to tell you a little story. This is my grandfather. He's going to come up on the screen, but I also have a picture here. He was in World War II. He was a U.S. Army medic. His father had come to America, leaving behind in Poland brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins that we never saw again. And when World War II came to the Americas, to American shore, my grandfather stood up and said, "I'm going back there." When I was a child, he never spoke of his time in the Army. I did not know much of his experience. I was an EMT, and when I studied to become an EMT, my grandmother gave me all of my grandfather's books to become a U.S. Army medic, and I saw what he learned. And then there's my father. He served in the United States Navy. It's one of my favorite pictures of him, mostly because I think I look exactly like him. So this is what I'd look like as a guy, if anybody wanted to know. This is it. He volunteered. He was not drafted. He is really a very, very peaceful man, and he felt that if he went into the Navy, he wouldn't be responsible for handling a weapon. Of course, they put him on a destroyer. So when we talk about weapons, that destroyer probably was a big one amongst them, and he was on the USS Cunningham, and he was still in the Navy when I was born. So if I use foul language, I apologize. My dad was in the Navy when I was born. This is my husband. I'm going to go back to my grandfather for a minute. My grandfather was in the second group that liberated Dachau. And I want you to think about that for a minute as a Jewish man going into a death camp and being amongst the liberators, a medic who could provide no medical service because those who were in survival stages were really not surviving. My husband's grandfather had been murdered at Dachau approximately 3 days before my grandfather got there. My husband joined the Air Force when he was not an American. He spent 4 years in our Air Force. He came to America from Belgium when his mother was diagnosed with a fatal illness, and my husband's father said, "Nope, you're not gonna die. We're gonna go to America and they're gonna save your life." She's still with us. Before he re-upped, he became an American, and he tells a wonderful story about that he loves to tell. And so if you get to see my husband, please ask him about when he became an American, because the second 4 years that he served our Air Force, he was an American. This is my son, my husband's son. He's my stepson, but I claim him. Had him since he was 12 years old. He is an active duty sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. He was in Okinawa. He is now in San Diego. He just signed up for his second 4 years. We could not be prouder of his service to our country. And finally, I bring you my daughter, South High School, Army JROTC. This year she decided to study Japanese, but last year she stood up because she wanted to be like her brother, her stepfather, her grandfather, and her great-grandfather, because we believe that service to this country is paramount. Whether we are refugees, whether we are immigrants, whether we are born in this country to all the beauties and freedoms that our ancestors who served us allotted us. So when we bring forward bills that support our military and support our veterans, we are thankful to them for everything that they brought us. So I am in incredible, undying gratitude to you for your service and for the freedoms that you have awarded and allotted me, and my family serves next to you. Thank you.
We typically don't applaud, but thank you, Representative Michaelson Jenet. We are done passing the resolution, and now taps will be played.